this great event. It's our 8th annual DuPont World Team Tennis Smash Hits. And the monies, as some of you probably know from the press conference that Elton did, AIDS Atlanta will be receiving some of the proceeds because we always keep some of the monies local when we go around to the different cities. We've been in cities like Los Angeles, Chicago, Boston, Kansas City, Houston, just to give you an idea of how we do go to different cities and try to help people with HIV and AIDS. Thank you for being here and supporting this.
Hi, I'm here with John Scott. He's the Executive Director of the Elton John AIDS Foundation, and we're down here at Phillips Arena for Elton John and Billie Jean King's Big Smash Hits fundraiser. Tell us a little bit about how the Elton John AIDS Foundation all got started.
The foundation was started in December of 1992, and really as a reaction to the fact that we had so many friends who weren't able to get themselves to and from the hospital and proper meal delivery and that sort of thing. So it was really just a response to people who we knew very closely, who weren't able to actually have the services that we thought were necessary, and also about the stigma attached to HIV. We wanted to raise the public awareness about it. So it was actually due to us doing volunteer work for Project Open Hand. We would go and Elton and I would go and deliver meals in the Midtown neighborhood, and just knowing so many people who were affected directly with the disease. So it grew from that. And we've had a huge amount of support from the communities, from the National AIDS Fund, who gave us a lot of instruction in the very early days about how to run a nonprofit effectively. So it's grown from that, and $20 million later, we're still here.
Elton is real interested in tennis, and Billie Jean seems to be very interested in music, and they decided to have this big tennis fundraiser. Do you think Billie Jean will ever have a big music thing where she actually performs and sings, you know? What do you think about that?
I don't think so.
No?
I've heard her voice.
We fund many projects in South Africa and Kenya and Uganda and some other countries as well. I hope to be going there in November to see for myself the projects that we fund and for other projects to fund, and to hopefully do some fundraising while I'm out there. My partner David Furness just went down there this last month and said it was one of the best experiences he'd ever had, because it wasn't, it was very moving, but he said there's a lot of hope down there, and the work that we do and the money that we give these organizations is having some effect. But I mean, it's just a small effect on an incredibly savage situation that's going on in Africa with AIDS.
I'm going to start this bidding off at $1,000, and I want a lot of hands because I deserve it. So $1,000. This is a record I used for the Australian Open early in this year, which was 2 thumbs up. I beat him there. $1,000. Okay, I hear $1,250 for this. $1,250. $1,500. $1,500.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen.
It's 10 grand for you, Pete. It's 10 grand. All right, we have 1,500. I have 2,000 for this. Take a picture together, and if you're cute, you kiss maybe.
I think this is something that is not just great for the sport of tennis, but it's great for the human spirit, because every time you bring a lot of people together who give up their time and their energies and put them towards one cause that so tremendously affects us all. It leaves you not just leaving here knowing you made a difference, but it makes you leave here asking how you can do more. And when I met Elton, I was just overwhelmed with his generosity of his time and his spirit, and how hard he works in his business and his profession, and how that pales in comparison to how hard he works and how much he gives back to so many, and so many of us are just privileged to benefit from it. And also Billie, who has given up so much of her time for the sport of tennis and has made so many great gains in our sport as well as in our lives. Just what she's brought, the whole gender of being a woman in sports, and how there's such a place for that, and how important that is, and how we all can be judged and viewed equally as human beings. It is a complete honor for me to be part of this, and I look forward to being here as many times as we can have this.
This has been the bench that's been with me for a long time, and it's used to a lot of weight, and it's held out very well. So I want to start the opening bid at 2,000. Anyone bid 2,000? Yeah. 2,005? Yeah. Anyone? 3,000? 3,000? 3,005? 6,000? Any bids higher than 6,000? 6,500?
I'll give 10.
Okay, Billie Jean King bids 10. We've got a high bid of $10,000. Do I hear 10,500? right, we've got a bid of $11,000 now. It's like watching Bobby Riggs and Billie Jean. $11,000. Sold for $11,000. Congratulations.
I got to meet Elton first time about 10 years ago in England, and he mentioned this event, and I've tried to do whatever I can to play it. It is end of the year, and it's a tough time, but it's important enough to me to make time in my schedule for Elton. He was nice enough to come to my wedding and play a few songs, so it's a pretty good trade-off for me. Not too many people can say that Elton John played at their wedding, so tonight's just more of a night to have some fun and to give back to to the AIDS Foundation and to help out Elton and Billy, who's also a friend of mine. So it's been a great event, and I look forward to coming back for many years.